With yesterday's announcement of the pretty significant nerf to the Cayo Perico Heist, there's obviously a good amount of people that are pretty upset about it. I personally think that Rockstar had two different options for the Cayo Perico Heist. Either they find a way to nerf it in a significant enough way, or they will inflate all the prices of everything yet again. The last option being obviously the worst possible thing that they could be doing, considering the fact that most, if not all DLC vehicles will cost $1 to $3 million, on top of the fact that there's properties and a whole heap of other things. Inflating the prices even further is just downright a bad idea. So they went with the significant change to it, and well, the one that they go with is probably the best one that they could have gone with. We have to be honest about what the Cayo Perico Heist is. It's a heist that you can do solo, and you can earn $1 to $1.5 million every 45 to 60 minutes. Now compare that to literally everything else within the game. Do you see the problem here? There is nothing even close to being as good as the Cayo Perico Heist. Now when Rockstar initially made the heist and was probably developing it, their intentions with the Cayo Perico Heist was probably that not everyone was going to just bulge through it and pretend like nothing else exists except for the main path of the heist. You can clearly tell that their design idea behind the heist was that people were going to start scoping out the island, finding where the secondary loot is, and then, and only then, start the finale. Little did they know that literally everyone was just going to simply ignore all that RNG and just play the finale outright, and across their fingers there might be some secondary loot along the way. And this is one of the reasons as to why they're making the change to the primary loot as well as the secondary loot. To kind of give you a refresh on what exactly they're doing, the primary loot will see a decrease if you get one of the higher values things. Basically translating into the chances of you getting picked diamonds is kind of getting reduced the more times you play the heist. In turn, the secondary loot will see a bit of a buff when that happens, meaning that you'll be more enticed to go for the secondary loot, thus exploring the island a little bit more to try to get better loot. Now, is this going to have a significant impact on the finale itself and how people are going to play it? Probably pretty unlikely. Is it going to have an impact of how much money you're making with the Cayo Perico Heist? Definitely. There's no denying about the fact that with this change, there's going to be a change in how much money you're going to be making on a per hour basis in GTA Online. But having said that, I don't believe that this is the reason as to why Rockstar is nerfing the Cayo Perico Heist the way that they are. They have stated on their newswire the reason as to why they're doing it. They want people to stop playing by themselves in an invite only session in a multiplayer game, only doing the same thing over and over and over again when GTA Online has as much content as it has. Right now, if you are a new player in GTA Online and you're someone who goes on YouTube, you will always hear the exact same answer. Figure out a way how you can get $2.2 million, which typically doesn't take all that much effort considering the first million or so is done through time trials, signing up for things, logging into the video game, and then the other $1.2 million is done through some kind of random double or triple cash event or joining someone else in a heist. Then you got your own Kasaka, and then you can play your invite only session by yourself, never ever touching any other content whatsoever. And that is precisely why this change is being made. A 2.5 hour cooldown on Cayo Perico Heist is very harsh, but I feel that's something that could still be looked into at a later date. I think right now Rockstar has kind of gone for an extreme measure to kind of make people think like, wait, there's other things to do in GTA Online. Trying to start thinking about the Cayo Perico Heist as that thing as you do once per night. You know, you don't have to repeat it all night, all day, every day like you've been doing right now. Instead, you could do a Cayo Perico heist, and after that you could maybe engage into one of the other heists, or start refueling one of your businesses, or start doing a sell mission in your businesses. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the change that they've made within the invite only sessions and you being able to sell your stuff. Because Those folks who like to play by themselves in not invite-only sessions and want to continue to do Cayo Perico Heist will now be able to spend the 2.5-hour cooldown on their businesses or anything else within the game. There's a lot of stuff in the game that has cooldowns, like for example the pay phone missions as well. And just because there is a cooldown, it is still GTA Online after all. And I'm pretty sure we'll figure out a way how we can reset that cooldown as well. Think for example the payphone missions. You just restart your game and you can do another payphone mission. The Cayo Perico Heist has just changed the way that people play the game. And not for the better. If there's a double or triple cash event, if there's anything going on in the game, whether it's new content, old content, those event weeks, everyone will always compare it to Cayo Perico Heist and how well that pays, which doesn't do the game any sort of justice or doesn't do it any good whatsoever. The Cayo Perico Heist has kind of put a stop on many people bothering to check out and play other content. It is very obvious if you try to find a heist within quick play. Doomsday is effectively pretty much dead. The older heist is, as per usual, only the prison break, and when you look at the casino, it becomes harder and harder to find anyone. No one is bothering to play the Cayo Perico Heist with more than one player. Now with this change, it might intensify people to start playing this with 2 or more players, because the nerf is only for the solo heist itself. So that means, at least on paper what we can tell so far, is that if you play the heist with 2 players, you only have to deal with the 48-minute cooldown. Meaning that you could probably start utilizing that. Now I understand where the solo players are standing with this, because effectively this was their way of making money. They could do a couple of Cayo Perico heists here and there so you could earn a car and start utilizing that within races and just kind of have a sure shot way of making some easy and laid back way of making money rather than always having to deal with all the businesses and yada yada yada. But the fact of the matter still doesn't change. It is not healthy for a game to have something that is so good at making money and being so good at making every single other bit of content obsolete to even start making money or even consider doing. Cayo Perico was in a league of its own, and right now it's kind of gonna be a little bit more reeled back and kind of be more in the same ballpark as all the other stuff. Casino Heist is still a thing. And I think a lot of people are probably going to fall back on Casino Heist rather than Cayo Perico, because that heist is just going to have a 48-minute cooldown. People are also forgetting about the fact that if you have friends, you're more than likely going to be able to start doing each other's finales still. Unless there is some sneaky things going on where they're doing the same thing as they have with the quick join, where if you try to join a casino or a Cayo Perico heist after you've done a finale, you have to wait the 48 minutes. If that's the case, that might also be a bit of another sting. But having said this, there are still plenty of ways of making money within the game. Rockstar making changes to existing payouts and older heists as well hopefully will incentivize people to start those older heists yet again. And I think that's really what the main goal is, like I said before. Making people play other stuff. And to say that the 2.5-hour cooldown is a good thing, I'm gonna have to say that maybe 1.5 hours, which kind of translates to 2 in-game days, might have been a more appropriate nerf. Having said this, I think that this kind of shock factor of having to wait 2.5 hours to do a Cayo Perico heist might actually not be a bad thing, at least in the short term. It's gonna make people think twice about how they want to make their money or how they want to approach in playing the game. I know for a fact that everyone that wants to make money in the game is kind of sick and tired of only being able to play Cayo Perico in order to make the right kind of money. You can still play your Cayo Perico heist every single day, and effectively if you do that for a month, you got to sell 30 million. There is not really a new DLC coming out every single week in GTA Online. There's gaps of 6 months. You're not going to be sitting there with a dry bank account for the next DLC if you just do very minimal effort. I believe that most people will kind of play GTA Online like this. There's a DLC that comes out, they make sure to have enough money for the DLC, they spend their money, they leave the game for a couple of months, they come back, and oh hey, there's a DLC again, let's make some money, play the DLC, spend it again, and vice versa, the cycle continues. So to wrap things up, I'm personally kind of curious to see what the new money-making method is going to be within the game. I personally am predicting that a meta of doing a 2-player Cayo Perico and a 2-player casino heist will kind of be the back and forth that you most likely are going to start looking for. Doing each other's finales in the progress and probably just making plenty of money in the way there. I don't think the economy in the way of how much money you're making on an hourly basis will change all that significantly. I'm hoping that with these changes, people will be more inclined to go and check out other content, whether it's the older heist or some of the existing races and death matches within the game. Hopefully it will spread out the player base. It will allow for more people to explore more different things. A lot of the game modes and activities within the game simply just don't have enough players checking it out, and whether that's because it doesn't pay enough or people just simply rather would spend time playing Cayo Perico, I guess it's something that we're gonna have to figure out in the coming weeks to come. But obviously, the fact still stays. Just because they get rid of Cayo Perico, there will just be another evil coming out of the woodworks and becoming the new meta that now everyone will start doing instead. The mentality of people will probably not change, but at least Rockstar is trying to push people in a different direction rather than staying in their own solo heist, repeating it over and over and over again until the wheels fall off. But those are some of my thoughts. Of course, I'd love to know what you think down in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and if you really like what you see on the channel, make sure to become a member like Chloe, Robert, and KFC Chicken. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all later.